Alright, so progress on the lid details is coming along very well. And we do have some other small details to figure out over here. I think the biggest challenge is this pan is a little rough. When they laid it up, they paid a lot of attention to this up here and not so much attention to this because I guess it doesn't really matter. But these areas in here along this lip are not even at all. They're like majorly wavy fiberglass layup. And so if we lay that lid on there, which is perfectly flat, it's not going to adhere. It's going to have big gaps. This area right here is particularly bad. It's really high right here and then low here, low here. So this raised area is going to be a major problem. So we've got to figure that out. There's not enough material to where I can just grind this down. There would be nothing left. So we really have to fill in the spaces. And then of course, my layup doesn't join perfectly to this. You know, it's like kind of like this, and you have this little gap here. So what I'm going to do right now is sand some of my work down flush with the other fiberglass. Then we're probably going to get like a brush or something and clean that space in between there, and then fill that with fiberglass, or probably just epoxy, thickened epoxy, so that there's no gap in there. The only thing I'm worried about with gaps is like if water gets in there and then it stays in there and then it mildews and then it can contaminate the rest of the water. You know, we just don't want any of that. We want this whole tank to be seamless. So we've just got these little areas to do some detail work on. This is, you know, kind of those little things that just have to get done. It's time consuming, it's not fun, it's not glamorous, but it's the reality of the situation, and we have to do it before we put that lid on here, and we can't work on this anymore. So we just kind of want to button all this stuff up. So yeah, I'm going to get to sanding. I'm going to go grab a face mask and get to work. Alright, so I've mixed up a batch of epoxy here, and I've got a little brush. I'm just going to wet out everything that we're going to be working on, and then we're going to come back and thicken this up, and we're going to make it pretty thick and kind of wedge it into any gaps in there, and you know, just make sure we don't have any of those little voids that I was talking about. All right, so we have finished up putting that epoxy in all those little voids, and basically we just need to let this cure, and then we're going to sand it down again. And I may even try to touch up a couple little small areas with the potable water epoxy. Not too sure. I mean, it's just like such a small, portion of what's going to be exposed to water that it's not really going to make any difference. But might be typically super anal about it, like I am, and do that anyhow. But yeah, so basically we're getting a lot closer to this being ready to actually put that lid down. So that's great.